If you saw me in the parking lot today, you'd probably feel sorry for me. I drive an old, rusty car that sounds like it's groaning every time I turn the key. But what no one sees is the number glowing on my banking app. A number that tells me I never have to worry about money again. Let me tell you how a simple feeling of inadequacy at age 22 put me miles ahead of everyone else. I was 22 years old.
I had just started my first job at a small insurance firm in Ohio, full of hope and big dreams. I remember getting my first paycheck. I held it like a treasure. I finally felt like an adult who could make her own decisions. But that very first week, Madison, my best friend from high school, pulled up to my house in a brand new German car. It was so shiny you could see your reflection in it.
When I sat inside, the smell of new leather filled my lungs. Madison said with a smug smile, "It's only $700 a month in payments, Clara. You should really think about it." $700? That was exactly half of my monthly take-home pay. The next morning, as I was pulling into the company lot, I saw Madison's car sparkling in the corner like a diamond.
Then I looked at mine. An old hand-me-down from my mom with a glaring rust spot on the driver's side door. In that moment, a strange, silent sense of humiliation washed over me. I felt like all my coworkers were standing behind the windows, thinking to themselves, "This girl still hasn't figured her life out." That night, I went to my parents' house feeling totally defeated.
My dad, who had worked in a factory with his rough hands his whole life, knew immediately something was wrong. When I told him about Madison's car and that sinking feeling in the parking lot, he was quiet for a moment. Then, very calmly, as if sharing a huge secret, he said, "Clara, Madison's car is building expenses for her, not wealth." Just that one sentence. I didn't take it seriously at first and thought, there goes Dad again with the lectures. I went to my room and lay down, but that phrase kept looping in my head like an annoying song. Expenses, not wealth. There was something about those words that wouldn't let me sleep. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I jumped out of bed and, in the dark, flipped open my laptop. The cold, white light of the screen stung my eyes. I put together a simple Excel sheet. I told myself, let's just do the math. If instead of car payments, I put that same $700 every month into a simple index fund with the average return of the US stock market, where would I be in 6 years? I chose 6 years because that was exactly when Madison's car loan would be paid off. When I hit enter, I just stared at the screen for a few seconds. I couldn't believe it. I instinctively covered my mouth so I wouldn't scream in surprise. The number on the screen was nearly $70,000. $70,000 in cash just from investing the money Madison was spending every month on a piece of metal that lost value every single day, while my money was growing and compounding in my account. That was the moment I realized I was standing at a crossroads. On one side was the appearance of wealth, and on the other was actual wealth. This decision was going to change the trajectory of my life forever. And that's where it all started. The next morning, I made my choice. I'd keep my mom's car. I'd get new tires, give it a proper tune-up, and take that $700 every month without exception, without a second thought, and automate it into an investment account. The decision was easy. Living with it, not so much. The first year was brutal. Every time Madison got into her car, she'd say something that sounded like a joke, but wasn't. "You still driving that clunker?" At Hangouts, when I parked my car, I felt like everyone was watching. Madison's Instagram photos got hundreds of likes. I didn't even post pictures of my car. Once at a company party, one of my coworkers laughed and asked, "Clara, when are you gonna buy a real car?" I laughed along, but when I got home that night, I sat in my car and cried. The sound of my sobbing echoed in that cramped old interior, and the only thing I could hear was the squeak of the worn-out seats. I felt like I was missing out on something everyone else had. But something kept me going. That number, that $70,000 in my head. every time I was tempted, I'd review that number.
I learned that this discomfort, this feeling of being less than in front of others, was just a price I was paying for something permanent. Years passed. I kept going. As my salary grew, I increased my investments, but I didn't change my lifestyle. Madison bought a new car every 3 years. Every time, a new payment. Every time, that initial rush. And every time, after a few months, that same old exhaustion from making the payments.
I still had the same car. A bit more rust, but it still started. Last year, at a graduation reunion, Madison excitedly showed off her new car keys, a luxury SUV, polished, without a scratch. With that same tone, she said, "I finally convinced myself to get it." I looked around. A few people admired it, took pictures, gave her likes.
Madison was jingling those shiny keys, but when she wasn't in the crowd, I saw how her shoulders slumped and the dark circles under her eyes. Every time work came up, she'd say with a deep sigh, "I have to work overtime, Clara. This thing doesn't pay for itself." Her car was brand new, but she looked like she was aging under the weight of that shiny piece of metal.
That was the moment I understood my dad's words with my whole heart. Madison didn't own that car. The car owned Madison, and it was sucking the peace right out of her. When I got home that night, I sat on the couch, picked up my phone, and opened my banking app. There was a number there, a number no one had seen. Not in the parking lot, not at the reunion, not in any photo. A smile spread across my face.
Not out of pride, but out of a strange sense of peace. I wasn't poor. I was just gathering my money somewhere else, somewhere no one could see. Madison is still writing a big check to the bank every month for a car that's worth less every day. I'm building something every month that's worth more every day. She shows off her car. I don't show off anything, because what I have doesn't fit in a photo.